Hey guys, this is Bryant with Sticks and Steel, and today we're reviewing the ProGauntlet. So you don't have to watch the rest of the video to find out what we think about it. I'll go ahead and tell you, they're awesome. The rest of the video is going to cover sparring, it's going to cover different types of weapons and the grips that we use with them. I'll use some jackets, different jackets, and I will also try out different kinds of forearms to see how they all work with the ProGauntlet. Hey, so I run the Academy of Western Martial Arts. We are a dedicated mixed weapon martial arts school. That means we're not tied to specific traditions, specific weapons, specific pedagogies. We're really focused on mechanics and application and effective fighting under pressure. So that being the case, we train 5+ days a week. I regularly run both group classes and private lessons, and I teach a variety of weapons from sword and shield to longsword to Kopesh. I really teach kind of everything that you can use in a hand-to-hand combat, and that puts us in a really excellent position to do some pressure testing and solid practical gear reviews. Sticks and Steel has asked me to do gear reviews for them, primarily because we have the setup to really punish some stuff. Moving forward from here, you're going to see me doing a lot of reviews for Sticks and Steel. I'm really excited about it, and I hope you're looking forward to it. Moving into the ProGauntlet review, I'm going to go ahead and start from the outside in. I'm going to look at the packaging that the ProGauntlets come in. To start with, it comes with this really nice mesh bag. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels like it'll hold up. It's pretty sturdy. The seams are nice. I know this seems like a really minor thing, but the packaging that something comes in is your first impression of it. And I would say that this is a really nice bag. It's even branded ProGauntlet. The string is a little sketchy, but overall, I don't think that's an issue. This is a really nice bag. Moving on to the gauntlet itself. Taking the gauntlet out of the bag is a little bit of an experience. So I take this out and it looks like I'm pulling Batman's gauntlet out of the hand. I've seen that comparison a lot. These are really beautifully engineered. I can see all of the individual articulations. I can tell at a glance I'm gonna be really well protected in this. I've got thrust stops. This feels and looks really good. It's very light, very light. I can see instantly I've got a pull tab, so they considered even pulling the glove on. I really like this design. The individual pieces move to an extent. However, when I kind of like pull on them some, when I shift them around, I don't appear to lose any degree of protection. It doesn't create notable gaps that I think will be an issue when you're fencing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it on, and here we go. I'm being really careful putting my hand in, so I'm doing this really slow, and it's in. So I really just pulled it on, pulled it straight on. It fits fine. It fits great even. It feels really flush to the hand. I'm touching my own hand. I can feel every little bit of contact here, even in the fingers and in the palm. I'm gonna have a lot of feeling when I pick up a sword in this. So I feel really good about the articulation. I have full articulation of my fingers, my thumb, and then I have all of the wrist movement that I need. All of the wrist movement. So mobility in this is already excellent. I can raise individual fingers. I can shift grips very easily. I can touch, you've seen that a lot with these, touching of the fingers. I have full mobility here and it feels really nice. And again, as I move, some of the plates shift. However, it doesn't look like it really creates significant gaps where I'm going to be punished. One thing that I want to address and point out is that the underglove here, the underglove actually has some interesting padding in there. I really like it. It's kind of a hive design. It's rubber padding. It's really about absorbing force in here. And it looks like the padding goes all the way up under the glove. I really like it, and it feels so good. Now, the number one thing that we really care about here is protection, and so the next part of the video is going to be focused on sparring. We've got some parameters we're going to set, and I'll define those at the beginning of that segment of the video. but for a first impression, this is super nice. This is super nice. So we'll go ahead and cut to the sparring, and you can see what kind of protection I have and what kind of weapons I'm able to use. Hey, sparring time. We're going to cover a bunch of different weapons with these ProGauntlets. I have asked Steven over here to do 4 exchanges with each weapon set with me, and in the first 2 exchanges, he's going to go basically full target. My elbows, my knees, my head, I'll be wearing my mask, is game, and then the second 2 exchanges, he's going to be hand hunting, so he's really going to be facing my hands here. So the weapons that we have arranged, I've got a buckler, he's got a paring dagger, on top of those sidearms, we've got sticks, we have messers, I've got a khopesh, we're going to use the Takedo Mercado prototype katana, we're doing rapier, and of course longsword. We're going to start with longsword, so here we go. All right, mask is slipping. So, I took some hand shots there. I really didn't feel them. I knew I got hit, but it was super light, super easy. It felt really good. I say light. He hit me pretty solidly, but the contact that I felt was super light. So, those are long swords. We're gonna move on. We'll do some rapier. So, here we go. Fitting into here, super easy, not only in standard grip, but also in side grip and a T-bow kind of grip. That's the grip I prefer, so I'm glad that works. My hands a little bulky outside the cup, but we'll see how it goes. Again, mask is slipping. So that last one in particular, I took a shot with the tip right in the palm. It felt really good. Even though it's not really covered or protected, there's a little bit of thicker
glove right there. That felt really good. All right, so we will move to stick work. Stick felt good. I didn't really get a solid hit to the hand. However, I had full mobility through all of these ranges of motion. It felt really, really good. Steven's not too easy on me. However, I have all of the agility, all of the dexterity that I need to kind of like take him on. So we'll go ahead and switch to Messers. We're going to do Messer by himself, and then he'll switch to kind of whatever he wants. I'm going to do Messer and Buckler. So starting with just the Messers. All right, so in that last exchange, she's really hand hunting. He really got me solid on the thumb. And again, as far as what I felt, it was very light. I know he hit me really solidly. I saw the power in his swing. It felt really good when I got hit. And I know I got hit just past this bigger plate on this smaller articulated joint. And it still held up really well. All right. Yeah, and he's got an ends for Messer, so it's a pretty beefy boy. All right, I'm gonna go to Messer and Buckler. I'll let him kind of pick what he wants to fight that with. Holding the Buckler here, I'm able to get my hand pretty much into this, and I can still spread my fingers out a little bit and open this up. It's a little awkward, I admit. I think that the mass of the knuckles here really prevents me from getting it too far. I could definitely get a Buckler with a better boss, and that would help. But I'm going to try it anyway. Otherwise, I have a pretty good grip on this thing. Looks like he's going for a Messer and pairing dagger. definitely had full mobility there. I felt like I had full control of the buckler, even if I can't quite fit all the way in. Feels pretty good, feels pretty good. I'm gonna switch to my Kopash to get into some exotic stuff here. So, I have this Kopash made by Street Forge Armory. This thing's pretty awesome. Steven's gonna use his ends for messer. I've got a really small grip on this thing. So I'm gonna wrap, and it fits perfectly. I could wrap backwards, and it would fit great. Overall, this is a really nice glove. The finger is slim enough that I seem to be able to pull just about any. All right. I'm going to switch over to my katana, and then we'll do this will be the last one that we do. Alright, so this is the Akato Armory prototype katana, steel sparring katana. It's not out for public release yet, but we're giving it a shot, seeing how well it holds up. So Steven's got one the same as mine. Let's get going. Alright, so that's a combination of weapons. I have full mobility in these gloves and all of these weapons. I was able to successfully pretty much defend myself. A little bit of an issue fitting in the buckler, the bulk of the knuckle, but I got into a complex rapier hilt without any issues. So I feel pretty good about these. These are really protective. Overall, I would recommend them for just about any weapon set. We'll do a breakdown after this, kind of some post-sparring impressions later after this section of the video.
Alright guys, so you just saw the sparring. I know that the lighting was kind of wonky. I know that a lot of times I was black shirts behind black gloves and you couldn't really see some of my grip changes, so we're going to replicate some of those here. I'm going to use the same weapons that I sparred with. I'm going to use the same tools. I'm going to try some other weapons that I did not spar with. So first thing I had was a Siggy Mini. So this has a pretty short handle and I can fit my hands onto this just fine. I can fit my hands here just fine. I can shift grip very easily. I can wrap over in the shifted grip, or I can kind of pad the side of the grip and I can open my hand or close my hand. I have full mobility here, and clearly I have all of the mobility I need to leverage the pommel or the full grip. This fits really, really nicely. I really like these. So full grip here, and I still have full wrist mobility as I am moving around, which you saw as I was sparring. So I'm going to move on from this sword to another sword that I used. The next one I believe was a rapier. And so I've got a Castile basic rapier here, and holding this in standard grip is very nice. Holding this in standard grip works just fine, and I can hold it a little further back. I have a really long, elongated handshake grip. You see the angle of my fingers where the pommel is resting against the base of my thumb. I also have a tighter, more tucked grip. I can even, as I showed in the video, go into side grip here, where it's kind of braced against the side of my hand, and I have my index finger through and my thumb behind. This is kind of a Tebow style grip, and this is really nice. Again, I have full wrist mobility. I can do just about anything I want with this, even in this kind of more complex hilt. So from here, I believe I used a messer. So I'm holding, this is a Krieger messer. From here, I have, again, full mobility, full dexterity. The nagel covers most of the knuckle section here. However, get you a close-up, covers most of the knuckle section here. However, you do see it is popping out a little bit. It's just the issue with many of the gloves that we have. They're just a little bulky. However, the grip, the fingers, and even the sides of the glove, I would say are less bulky than most of the others. I can thumb grip this as well, and this effectively protects my fingers. Again, I have a little bit of knuckle sitting out here, but in this grip, you see I'm hidden behind our little cross guard here. So this feels really good as well, and I have full control, even single-handed. I can open up, I can close tight, I can wrap more or less, and I've got full mobility. Let's see. Moving on from that, I did use some bucklers, or I did use a buckler. I'm going to try two right now. So the first one is just a standard kind of round buckler. I got this from Theory and Arms. I'm going to put my hand in here, and I can't quite get all the way in there. That's okay, I don't really need that much grip, right? I'm really using my fingers to hold this thing. So I'm using my fingertips to squeeze it into my knuckles, the inside of my knuckles, and I can open and close just fine. This buckler works great. If I wanted to fit my whole hand in there for some reason, I probably need a buckler with a bigger boss. So overall, I really like this. I have all of the mobility that I need. My wrist will move. And then my targa. This is a Malleus Martialis targa. I really can't get my fingers in here. I can't do very much here. I'm just kind of like gripping it barely with my fingertips. I do have the mobility to put thumb on, as we discussed, but I can't really move this around very much. And I'm always kind of like at my wrist extension here, putting this in order because I need that extra angle to accommodate for the fact that I can't get my hand in there. So I maybe wouldn't go with the targa with these gloves. I don't think it worked very well. Many people like to use a lighter glove for their offhand regardless, so that would probably solve that problem. The next weapon is my Khopesh. So this is a steel sparring Khopesh made by Street Forge Armory. This is a really good fit. The slim fingers here, the slim fingers allow me to get right into this very small grip, small shaped grip perfectly. I can hold it here. I can also hold it backwards, and you'll see it's backed right up to the glove. This is a perfect fit, which is amazing to me. This is a very small grip. I can hold it on the side, thumb grip, on either direction, and I still have a perfect fit. So this is one of my favorite weapons to spar with and train with, and I'm really pleased that these gloves fit into a grip this small. All right, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to move into some weapons that we didn't really use during the sparring. Oh, I'm sorry, the katana. So here I have an Akado prototype steel sparring katana. Pulling this out, I've got a long grip, so I'm going to have plenty of room for the glove, and I have perfect mobility through my motions. It's great. It's great. It's just an open hilt, and so I expect that I'm going to have all of the room and mobility that I need, but it's nice to confirm that. It does work very well. Moving on from the Akado katana, a popular alternative option is the Sigi. The Sigi katana has a shorter grip. So I was able to hold the Sigi Mini just fine. I expect to be able to hold this just fine. Confirmed, it works really great. I still have all of the mobility that I need. And I know that in different techniques, we might shift one-handed with one weapon or the other. I will say that despite the weight of the tool here, it feels really good in one hand or the other. This is not necessarily a statement about the tool, though the tool is very nice. It's really that I have the grip and I have the feeling in my grip that I can really tell what's going on with the weapon as I'm holding it. So I would feel comfortable using this in either hand or both with these gloves. Moving on, here is a Poker Armory sail dagger. I can't quite get the knuckles into the sail. Again, kind of with the same with the Targa. I can't quite get the knuckles into the sail, but overall this feels really good. I can get my thumb here. I'm using Note. I wouldn't recommend this, but the thumb is so slim shaped that I can kind of peek it through the little thumb ring there. So just another commentary on how well designed, how well shaped, and how relatively slim the coverings on the fingers are. I really like that. I don't want extra bulk where my fingers are. I want full mobility. They would just catch on each other otherwise. So I have full mobility here as I go hitting my own equipment. Full mobility here. This is really nice. I'm going to say that it's still a win, even if the knuckles won't quite fit in there, especially if I'm holding it kind of forward and rolling it around. I wouldn't be particularly concerned about my knuckles. If they did get hit, then I do feel, based on the sparring that we did, that they'd be very protected. The next sword is kind of a simpler hilt. It's just got a finger ring. I use the rapier, but you can't really see into the finger ring. I want to show this. I have a long grip here, and I'm just barely tucked over the finger ring. And I can also hug it tighter. Again, in that handshake grip, I can fit into this knuckle bow just fine. This is the old Sigi side sword model, the Venetian side sword. I don't believe they make this anymore, but it's a good example of a relatively close knuckle bow, and I still have a perfect fit in here. This feels really good. I wouldn't be concerned about my knuckles. I can go into side grip, but I start to encounter that knuckle issue in side grip, like so. But again, I don't know that that's a big issue. I primarily fight in side grip. That's my preference. It's good to see that I have even this much fit. And I'm fine with that. I would take that wager personally, because I would know that if I could not protect my hands successfully, then I would be protected by the glove. You know, not an ideal situation, but not an ideal set of priorities, but I would be protected by the glove if I got hit. Last of these kind of complex hilts, I have a small sword that has a very small knuckle bow, almost like a spadroon style knuckle bow. I can fit my fingers in here just fine. I can fit the fingers in here just fine. This is really nice. Again, I have full mobility. I don't quite have the room for a longer grip, which is unfortunate to me, but that's okay. I encountered that in just about any gloves that I've tried to use this sword with. So I can't quite get longer. I can get into a shorter handshake grip. I can do some funny things like go into a side grip while thumbing the back of the back quillion here. but you'll see that my glove kind of catches on the little plate here, right? But it's not catching in a way that would limit my motion. So I maybe would use a different pair of gloves with a grip this small. Oh yeah, see, I'm a little stuck here because I tried to fit it in too much, and you just wiggle it out. So I would maybe not use these gloves with a grip this small, but they fit every other sword so far. So last one of the swords, and then the last weapons. I have a Siggy Shorty here. We knew it would fit the mini. It's going to fit the Shorty. It's going to be fine. I do also have a Siggy XL. This is my big boy. So this here, clearly I'm going to have plenty of room. What I'm looking for with a weapon this large is that as I shift around, this cross isn't going to catch on anything, and it really doesn't. It's not grinding across my glove. I have full mobility from the other side here. See, that cross is free pretty much the whole time, right? So I really liked that, and I think it's the slimmer design of the back section of the glove here. Really nice. We'll put this back up and make a big clatter. And then the very last thing, and something that's really dear to my heart, is simple stick fighting. I've got two size sticks here. This is a really thin stick, and I want to know that I'm not going to have gripping issues on a thinner grip or a thicker grip. So holding this feels really good. I have full mobility, and I'm in a thumb-on position right now. I wouldn't recommend that with just stick, but if you had a basket, that'd be okay. And then thumb down, standard grip. Clearly, it's just a stick. I've got plenty of room. There's nothing inhibiting. But really, again, the size of the object is what I'm looking for. Can I grip something that is very small, very thin in diameter? So from the small one is a thicker gripped stick, and I have the same full control and mobility with this as well. Again, thumb on, thumb down. I'm good. This is great. So that's really all of the weapons that we've used. We'll throw in a bonus. This is my Focus from Purple Art Armory, and it's just a haft. It's just a straight haft. I'm gonna have a grip on it. Nothing's gonna, change about that from the stick. But it is nice to know that I feel like I have full dexterity, full mobility, full control of the weight at the end of this. And I think that I would have an issue with that in a really heavy glove. And it just speaks to the lightness of the glove, that it's not disrupting my motion and my control. And again, I can feel everything that's happening through the haft of the axe. If I can hold on to this, I can hold on to pole arms. I don't know that I would use this type of weapon or a pole arm with these gloves. I think that would probably be too much for the glove, but they're not really designed for that, to my knowledge. They're really designed for, these competitive weapons that we use. So that is all of the weapons that we used and more. We got a bonus here at the end, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to some jacket fits. All right, I've switched to an old Superior Fencing jacket. This is a rebranded Superior Fencing to Lynx, right? That's sold by South Coast Swords. So this glove fits just fine with this jacket. It's almost identical to a Spez AP, at least this model of this jacket is. So I would expect from here that the Spez AP would also fit. So I have full mobility and I don't have any gaps. So I'm gonna call this Superior Fencing jacket a win. All right, so we're back with jackets. You'll see that I'm wearing the Black Armory Arkham jacket. It's not done up. I don't intend to do it up all the way. I don't really need that. I just need to know that it's gonna fit at the sleeve. And I'm gonna do the same with every jacket that we try. So first fit, gonna slide my hand in here. Having a little bit more trouble on this one. It hasn't really made contact. Oh, I've got the glove rolled up. So, gotta make sure the glove is clear before you put the glove on. The inner glove is clear before you put the whole glove on. And again, I'm being careful putting this on just because I'm kind of paranoid. These are pre-production models. So I have full protection here, and there's not really a gap. My sleeve kind of pops up. but I don't really have any gaps here. So I'm going to say this is a win. Works with the Arkham. All right, guys, so I am now wearing the Spez Cadet, and I've got a little bit of sleeve flare here. It's just got a deeper cut on the wrist. I can tuck that in pretty easily and pull the glove over it, and it's fine. And I also have full mobility. I would say because of that little wrist bit, I have a little bit less protection here, and it's nothing that some good forearms wouldn't solve, forearm protectors. So full mobility. I might even have more mobility than I did with the other jackets, which I realized just now. But again, this material is much thinner. It's much more easily movable. Feels good. I'm gonna call this one a win too. All right, so the last jacket is the Spez Officer. So I really hope this one works because this is my personal jacket. So I'm wearing now, I have full mobility. Again, I have a little bit of a wrist thing going on here. It's a little tucked. I have a tiny gap right here behind the cuff where the wrist opens up. This is the same as the Cadet, and I can just tuck it in there. Again, a good pair of forearms will solve this problem. I don't feel like it's a major issue. And I have full mobility. So last one is a win. Okay, so I've kept the officer jacket on. We're gonna do some forearms now. So I've got the Spez Elbow and the Spez Vectors, Spez Vector forearms on. I'm gonna pull the glove on. I wanna see how much forearm protection might disrupt mobility, or if they're harder to get on, if I have to make adjustments, etc. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to pull them on. Again, as before, I'm just being really careful with these. They are pre-production models, but they are basically what you're gonna get when you buy them. All right, here we go. And I'm pulling that over, and I'm immediately noticing that the bulk of the Spez Vectors does make it a little harder to get the glove on, and that the fit around with these plates is a little larger. So my cuff has expanded, basically. The design allows the cuff to expand, which is really nice. I don't see any notable gaps, and the forearm covers any issue I had with the cut of the wrist on the officer jacket. So I still have full mobility. I'm fighting the forearm a little bit, but if you were really interested in this glove, I would just get a different forearm. I'll show you a couple others here in a minute that you might want to consider. This feels really good. I'm going to say this is pretty okay. I do have to fight it going back. I don't know when you really need to do that when you're fighting, in my opinion, but so it goes, right? I got some issue there. It does expand. The plate does move, but I got it. All right, so I'm going to call the Vectors a maybe. I wouldn't use them with this glove. I would just use different forearms. Okay, so the next forearm is the relatively minimal plate of the Prometheus Pax HEMA forearm. This is what looks and feels like just a piece of Kydex that has holes punched in it and a little tie. These are my personal forearms. I prefer them over others, largely because they're so slim. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them on. I pull the glove on. I think that it's gonna be a clean fit once I get the inner glove sorted out. Yeah, the inner glove tends to roll in as you take them on and off a bunch, but I don't think that's a big issue. See my sleeve. All right, so they're on, and up. And I have full mobility with the Prometheus Pax forearm. I would say I have slightly more mobility than with the Vectors. I'm not fighting it as much, but it is still a little bit in the way. I can probably scoot this up some, and yep, that solves the problem. So I'm good to go with the Prometheus Pax forearms. Okay, so the last forearms I'm gonna use are the Purple Art Armory encased forearms. These kind of wrap around, and they're hard plate. There's no foam or padding. So they're relatively slim at this front, and they spread out in the back. The front's really what we care about. So I'll go ahead and pull the glove on here. And there we go. So it's on. Tuck that sleeve a little bit. All right. Yeah, that sleeve cut for the officer and the cadet is really kind of disruptive, but it's not that bad. It's really easy to get over. Okay, so here, I fight this the least. This is probably the one that I have the most mobility in from the get-go, and I'm dealing with this forearm really well. It's definitely better shaped at the front than the other two that we tried. A note about the forearms and sleeves. You may find that in jackets with thicker forearms, like the Spez AP, probably in my Superior Fencing jacket, the thicker forearm plus the forearm protection, that padding plus the protection, is going to make it more difficult to have that mobility without fighting the cuff. Based on the way that the Pro Gauntlets are constructed, I don't think there's going to be a lot of break-in. This is not leather, this is not styrogum. These are rubber and elastic straps. There's not a lot of break-in here. So be aware that what you have to start might be what you have, and that's it. And so you may want to consider other forearm options if the size or the thickness of the forearms you're using, like the Vectors, for example, don't work very well for you wearing these gloves. But otherwise, I have all the mobility that I need in almost every jacket, in every jacket and every forearm. Even if I have to fight it a little bit, I'm going to say that this design where the cuff expands is really the savior here. This is really nice. All right, so that is end of the forearm section. We're going to go to the conclusion. All right, so here at the end of the video, I'm going to give you the holistic breakdown. Basically, they fit into almost every weapon. Really tiny grips, like my small sword, are maybe not the sword for this glove, but other gloves will suit that kind of weapon just fine. This glove was really designed for kind of the high competitive sports. You're looking at long sword, you're looking at side sword, maybe some rapier, and this will fit pretty well. Anything that has a really, really small knuckle bow and complex guard that's really tightly fit to the grip, you're going to have a little bit of trouble with solely because of the knuckles. But otherwise, this glove will work amazing for everything else. I have full mobility, full dexterity. The protection was really good in the sparring. I felt really great about it. And I think, you know, these are just excellent. So if you were on the fence, I would say go for it, sign up for them, get them as soon as they're out, and they're going to be really solid gloves. Things to ask, you know, how do you get replacement pieces, and what's the warranty, and all of the kind of standard stuff that you would consider asking for any expensive product you're going to buy. But ultimately, these gloves are awesome. All right, Sticks and Steel Gear reviews. Pro Gauntlet is great. Looking forward to seeing you next time.